Hello. Welcome back to my channel, or hi if you're new here. My name is Britt, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial using the new dip starter kits from Kande Dips. So we'll be using the rose version of this kit, so you get this solid shimmer color called Rose, and then a fine glitter called Rose Dust. I will be working on some medium coffin tips, and you also get your crystal clear and all of the dip liquids that you will need. You also get all of your tools in this set that you will need to create a full mani, including your files, your buffing block, a brush, a scrub brush, some lint-free wipes, and your alcohol pads. So to start, we'll be using dip base and activator with our two colors, and we will be going in with rose on 3 of the nails and rose dust on 2 of the nails. I kept the placement really simple and user-friendly for those who are just starting, since this is a starter kit. I didn't want to do any fancy designs, just to make it more approachable and less intimidating. So you can create really beautiful manis with just doing a very simple layout. So I'm doing 3 fingers with rose and then 2 fingers with rose dust. So you'll see I'm applying the liquid on the nails and then just dipping gently into the powder. You can pour over, dip into like this, like laying flat, or you can dip into the jar if you're like using it on your actual nails. So you have a couple options when you're applying your dip powders. If you were applying these to your actual nails, you want to be gentle and not like smush your finger into the powder, because you can kind of move that liquid around and it'll create texture on the nail that then you'll have to like file and work with later. So the more gentle you can be, the less work you're going to have to do later when you're doing your filing and shaping. You also will want to clean up around your cuticles with each dip, just kind of gently removing any excess that is gotten into your cuticles. It just keeps nice cuticle lines. So now we're going in with dip number 2. I'm dusting each nail off here just to get off any excess powder. And then we'll go in for dip number 2 on each nail. I am going to pull out some of these lint-free wipes. When you go in for dip number 2, there's always going to be a little bit of residual powder, even if you've, brushed off really well. But you want to wipe that brush off on a lint-free wipe in between each dip before you put it back in the bottle, so you're not contaminating your liquids with any of those powders. Because you will notice if you do that, you'll see glitters and things like that getting into your dip liquids, and then that can mess up when you're doing other colors later, especially if you're working like on a dark color and then you go in to do a lighter color. You'll see that darker color bleed into your lighter color. So just wipe your brush off before you put it back in the bottle, just to keep any of those glitters and pigments from getting back into your bottle. I'm going to show you here in a second, when I brush over one of the glitters, you'll see that it gets on the brush. So that's what I'm meaning. Like, you don't want, even if I wipe this off, I dusted it off really well, you're still going to get some glitters that will inevitably come off onto the brush, and you're going to want to wipe those off on the lint-free wipe just to make sure that you're not getting any of that into your liquids. And you see there's some glitter on the brush. I'm just wiping it off on the lint-free wipe and then putting it back in the bottle, and that gets all your glitters off. Look how pretty that glitter is. I love a good, like, fine glitter. They're the easiest to work with. A chunky glitter or a medium chunky they're not difficult, but they do take a little bit more finessing. But a fine glitter, if you're a starter, they're perfect, because you still get that impact of a glitter without having to do a lot of extra to get like that high impact shimmer. So there's dip number 2. I'm going to let those dry a little bit, and then we'll come back and do the next step, which is clear. So I'm dusting these off really well. I did do something on purpose here, so you're going to see me do it. I did it for the solid and the glitter. first, I guess, I am patting down any of those extra glitters here just to make sure that they're nice and flat before we go in with our clear. Just keep your finger covered if you're going to do this. Try not to touch your liquids with bare fingers. You don't want to have any kind of reactions with chemicals touching your skin. So I'm going in with clear here. We've brushed off, but I purposely did not brush the underside of these nails because I want to show you something that can happen. So you see here I'm applying our dip base again before we dip into our clear. And you'll see that when I tap off here that some of the pigment ends up in the clear. This can happen if you do not wipe your undersides of your nails off. Like if you're applying these to your actual nails, make sure you brush the underside because pigment can build up underneath there as well. And you don't want that pigment to end up in your clear. So what I did there was I took a little fluffy brush and I just gently picked up, like pressed the brush into it to pick up that extra pigment and get it out of your clear so you're not contaminating your clear. So going in with clear on this nail as well, and I brushed the underneath off really well just to make sure none of that pigment gets into our clear. Brushing that one off again and then back into the clear. And I did the same thing for the glitter. So again, I didn't brush the underside of these nails, so the glitter ends up into the clear, and you can just gently pick that up with a fluffy brush and just tap that off into, like a trash can or something like that, just to get those glitters out of your clear so you're not contaminating your clear. Wiping the brush off to make sure I don't get any of those glitters into my dip base. And see, there's all the glitters that just fell off from the underside of the nail. So I'm just gently picking it up with the brush and tapping it off into my trash can that's next to me. And once all of those little glitters are picked out, you want to make sure that you brush the next nail off really well just so you avoid recontaminating your clear. So here I'm going to brush the nail off really well. We'll apply a layer of dip base, and then we will lay into the crystal clear, brushing off the brush on the lint-free wipe just to make sure that we don't contaminate our liquids. And you'll see when I tapped off there, none of the glitters ended up into our clear, so that's exactly what we wanted. And with that, we have 2 layers of our color and then a layer of clear. So our next step is going to be activating these nails to harden them so that we can file and shape. So there's everything all together there. And then now we're going to go in with activator. So you're going to do 1 layer per nail, and you're going to let this sit and get hard. Usually it takes about like a minute or so. Just kind of listen and like touch. If you start filing your nail and you see that it's kind of like crumbling off and it's not, it feels soft when you're filing, then you need to wait a little bit longer for that to harden. These are sensitive dip liquids, so they do take a little bit longer to get hard, but they work just the same as regular dip liquids. They just take a little bit longer to dry. That's the chemical that usually causes problems with people, is the one that will like speed up the drying process. So really that's all you're kind of missing here. So now I'm going to go in with the little banana file and the buffing block that we got, and I'm going to just gently file up the free edges and the cuticle line around the sides, and then I will go across the surface with the buffing block just to make it nice and smooth. And you'll do that for all of the nails. I do that off camera so you don't have to sit and watch me file forever. And then once you're done filing and shaping all of your nails, the next step is to activate them again. This helps to, again, re-harden any of the dip powders from the filing process, and this also helps in the drying process of your dip top coat. So you're going to want to apply a layer of activator, and then you're going to wipe off each of the nails with one of the lint-free wipes just to get off any of that excess activator from sitting on the surface of the nail. You do this because any excess activator on your nail can cause your dip top coat brush to harden. So you don't want too much excess to be sitting on the nail. So when you do your dip top coat, you're going to want to do like 2 to 3 quick strokes up the nail and you'll do that for each nail. This is just the first step of your dip top coat. And usually by the time you get from your first nail to your pinky, your first nail will have started to harden on that first layer. So I'll show you here in a second that you can see that the pinky is still really glossy and the thumb has started to go matte. So you're going to go in with your second layer of dip top coat, and you can take a little bit more time here to make sure you're getting your sides and capping the free edge. And I'm doing that for each nail, and you can see how the finish has gone like not completely matte, but it's gone like a semi satin look to it. That means that the first layer has hardened enough that you can go in with your second layer. And once you have done that for each of the nails, it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for them to completely harden. But once the dip top coat has set, you will have beautiful, glossy, hardened nails. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to use the new Kande Dips Dip Starter Kits. These are perfect for anyone who is new to dipping, or maybe you want to gift this to somebody who wants to start doing their nails at home. They are perfect all-in-one kits to get a completed mani at home. So I will leave the link to where you can get these in the description below. And don't forget that you can use code BRIT15 to save 15% at checkout. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so I can see you around for future videos. Bye guys.